Alrighty, so my locking hubs came in. These are ASIN locking hubs off of a Suzuki Samurai. They're brand new, obviously. And this is the old vacuum hub unit. Now, my vacuum hubs were actually working great. You see the seal's in pretty good shape and stuff. But these things do get problematic if you have a lot of mud and water. And most importantly, you don't have control over them. So with this hub, you can do two-wheel drive low, right? You can put on free spool, you go to low range, and you're two-wheel drive low. This hub, you don't have that level of control without doing a bunch of wiring. And they're problematic, so I upgraded them. Got two ASIN hubs, part number in the description, for like 150 bucks on Amazon. Really good deal. Millimeter 12-point bolts. I'm not sure what I said before, but probably wrong. Now, on the Samurai, you would have studs coming out of here that are this size, but these studs are not that uncommon. It's more like an exhaust stud. I actually have some in stock from Honda, but I don't have 12 of them, so I gotta get some more studs. But I might use these for now. I gotta figure out how the washer situation is gonna work. But yeah, so I unbolted the hub, and then there's a snap ring, and you can remove the snap ring, then you remove this piece, and that gets you down to this nut, this big weird nut. See the holes in there? So this nut is what preloads your axle bearings, but in order to install the Samurai hub, from what I hear, you have to cut this nut down. Now, I didn't want to do that in the knuckle because I don't want to contaminate my bearings, and I don't have this crazy tool to go in here and remove it. So I just took the grinder and cut a little slot here and a little slot here, and now I'm going to use a hammer and chisel to remove that nut. Then I can put it in the bench with a cutoff wheel, cut off, you know, several millimeters of this, probably like a 1/4 inch of it, and then I think I'll be able to install my locking hub. I could have ordered the hubs for the Jimny from Japan, but they would have taken longer to get here, and they wouldn't have been a nice ASIN unit. They'd have been some aftermarket. So it wasn't much more expensive to get the ASIN Samurai hubs. It might have been like $50 more, but I just like ASIN hubs. They're on my Dyna. They've been on my 4Runners and all my old Toyotas, so I like them. But yeah, so now I'm gonna try to tap this nut off with a hammer and chisel and modify it and see what's what. Another thing, disappointingly, these hubs did not come with the cone bushings, washer things that go pressed into here, because this style didn't use them. So I gotta get those. I have a bunch of them. I don't know if I have 12, but I probably have enough to get the hub installed on there and drive it, but I gotta order some of those. So the one thing you need in addition to the hubs is the cone washers and studs. There's how the nut looks now. Obviously I didn't do a beautiful job, but I just trimmed it down, put it in the vise, use the circle grinder. I'm going to take it on the grinder wheel now and clean it up some, but I just want to get most of the material off of the circle grinder because it doesn't make as much of a mess. The nut is back on there. You can see it's all greasy now, and the nut is trimmed down so it doesn't really stick out too far. So this has plenty of clearance to fit over it. Closer inspection, you do need to put some kind of snap ring or something because the axle can actually slide in and out a good bit, and that's not what you want. So I think I'm going to try to reinstall it with this goofy spacer they had and the snap ring, if this guy will allow it, and it looks like it will. That'll fit in there. So we've got to see how everything tightens down, but I think there's going to be enough clearance to install this in the snap ring. This snap ring, by the way, is a bitch. It is really a strong snap ring, and it's got one small hole and one big hole on it, which I found to be very annoying with my snap ring pliers. There's it all bolted down. Because I am a savage, I didn't use studs. I just used some 12mm bolts I had laying around, and I tightened them down until the washers kind of crushed into the cone hole. Now, that's probably like really sacrilege or something, but this is a 600cc truck with an open front differential. I think it's going to be plenty strong enough to handle the torque. I put a little ultra gray between the surface. This had an O-ring, but didn't quite trust that, so ultra gray as well. And this is the mechanism that actually locks it in. So your axle splines into that coupler, and those splines engage these inner splines, and these outer big splines engage the hub, which gives torque to the hub, which gives torque to these bolts, which gives torque to this, but it's all sandwiched down very nicely, so I'm confident it is plenty strong. Here it goes. Very nice. And this came with new bolts. I'll put those 10s in, and then we'll check out the operation of it. Fun fact, do not over torque these 10mm bolts. I broke off a lot on my 88 4Runner as a kid. These don't have any torque on them. All the torque is between here and here, so these don't need to be very tight. So right now it's in freewheel, which I had vacuum hubs before, but I have no idea when they worked. But you can see that the drive shaft isn't turning and the other tire isn't turning right now. All right, so that's working good. It feels nice. A little dragging on the brakes, but that's fine. And then when we lock it, well, that's a very nice feeling mechanism. Boom, drive shaft spinning. So now, you know, I have complete control over when I engage my front wheels, which will give me two-wheel drive low. Oh, that engages and engages so nice. Very snickety. And it matches the hubs on my Dyna for bonus points.